Hello everyone, this is Aarti K working as an Assistant Professor of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science at Kalaignar Karunanidhi Institute of Technology, Coimbatore. Today we are going to discuss about decision making and branching in programming in C. So in a program, all the instructions are executed sequentially by default. When no repetition of some calculations are necessary, in some situations we may have to change the execution order. For this, the decision making and branching will be used. So C language provides four general categories of control structures. They are sequential structure, selectional structure, iteration structure and encapsulation structure. In the sequential structure, in which instructions are executed in sequence. In selection structure, here the sequence of instructions are determined by using the result of the condition. If the condition is true, then one set of statements will be executed. Otherwise, other set of statements will be executed. In the iteration structure, in which statements are repeatedly executed. For example, for loop. And the final one, encapsulation structure, in which the other compounds are included. For example, we can include an if statement in a for loop or a for loop in a if statement. C language provides the following statements: if statement, if else statement, nested if else statement and if else later. So if statement. The if statement is a decision making statement. It is used to control the flow of execution of statements. And also it is used to test logically whether the condition is true or false. It is always used in conjunction with condition. This statement is used when a question requires the answer. Here is the syntax for if statement. So if condition is true, the true statements will be executed. If the condition is true, then the true statements are executed. The true statements may be a single or group of statements. If the condition is false, then the true statements are not executed. Instead, the program skips past it. Here is the example program to display a number if it is a negative. For that, we have to get two numbers from the user. After getting the number, we have to check whether the entered number is negative or not. If it is negative, we have to print that number. If it is positive or maybe 0, it will be print the if statement is easy. Next one is if else statement. If else statement is basically a two-way decision making statement and always used in a conjunction with condition. It is used to control the flow of execution and also used to carry out the logical test and then pick up one of two possible actions depending on the logical test. Here is the syntax of if else. If test expression is true, it runs the code inside the if statement. Otherwise, it runs the code inside the else statement. So here is the example program for if else statement. This program is to check whether an integer is odd or even. So we have to get the integer from the user. After getting the integer from the user, we have to check that number is odd or even. For that, we have to modulo that number by 2. So number modulus 2 equal to 0 means it is a even integer. Otherwise, it is the odd integer. Next one is nested if else statement. When a series of if else statements occur in a program, we can write an entire if else statement in another if else statement called nesting, and the statement is called if nested if. So here is the syntax and flow chart for nested if. So first we have to check the condition 1. If the condition 1 is true, it goes to condition 2. If condition 1 is false, it directly goes to another set of statements. If condition 1 is true and also condition 2 is also true, means it executes the one set of statements. If condition 2 is false, means statement 2 will be executed. After that, all will arrive to the statement X. So this is the concept behind the nested if else statement. Here is the example program for the nested if. In this program, we are getting two numbers from the user. After getting the two numbers from the user, first we check the number 1 greater than or equal to number 2. If it is true means it enters into another condition, number 1 equal to number 2. Both the conditions are satisfied means it prints the result. That means number 1 is equal to number 2. If condition 1 itself it fails means it directly go to the result equal to number 1 less than number 2. If condition 2 only false means it prints the number 1 greater than number 2. Next one is if else ladder. Nested if statements can become quite complex. So if there are more than 3 alternatives and induction is not consistent, it may be different for you to determine the logical structure of if statement. In some situations, we can use the nested if as a else if ladder. So here is the example for if else if ladder. So condition 1 means true means it executes the statement 1. If condition 1 false means condition 2 will be checked. Condition 2 true means statement 2 will be executed. If it is false means condition n will be executed. Likewise, it executes the if else ladder. Here is the example for else if ladder. We have to get two numbers from the user. After getting that, number 1 equal to number 2 means it prints as the number 1 equal to number 2. Otherwise, it checks the number 1 greater than number 2. If it is true means result will be printed. Else number less than number 2 will be printed. So this is the concept behind else if ladder. Thank you all. Hope you all understand the if statement concepts clear.